Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So it's been a while again, but I've had a really busy month of March, so I'm rather surprised I've read anything, let alone 3 books. So in this March wrap up I'm going to catch you up on the books in a little bit more detail since we have the space to do so. And then next I'm editing a vlog from my London trip right now, and there's going to be a little book haul that will follow, so hopefully I'm waiting for just one more book to complete it, so you will see that on my channel quite soon. Let's not jinx it, so let's get started. So the first book that I read in March was Nevernight by Jay Kristoff, and this is a book that I've been trying to get into for a bit. Mostly was deterred by the first chapters. They are quite fine, but Jay Kristoff tends to do a lot of what do you call them, annotations at the very bottom, where he just has a lot of different information on the city, or like just info dump a little bit right here. It's a fantasy book. I really liked it. I think I gave it either 4 or 5 stars. It was really good once you get into it, but I've had an initial trouble with the first 100 or so pages. And if you don't know what the book is about, it's about Mia Corvere, who is an assassin, or training to be an assassin full-time, to get revenge on the horrible things that happened to her family in her youth, and she's still quite young. She's about 16 years old, but this is an adult novel, this is not YA, and yes, so there are a lot of harrowing scenes. Not that they can't be in YA, but just like the tone of the book is very grim, and you have to get used to the narrator a bit because he has all kinds of quips and jokes, and you really have to get used to that style. But otherwise I felt like the style of the world, the setting was inspired a bit by Italian cities, and I really loved the world. I really loved the characters as well, and this was one of these books that really caught me by surprise with the twist at the end. When I saw it coming I was like, oh hell no, I can't believe I missed it, and it was just done so masterfully, and it's been a while since a twist went over my head, so I was really satisfied. There's, I think, a 3rd book is coming out if it hasn't come out yet, so I have a bit of a catching up to do, but I was very happy with the first read of Jay Kristoff solo. I read Illuminae before that, and Illuminae was written with Amy Kaufman, I think her surname is, and it's a really cool story, and it's sci-fi, but it's very different from this format, and I dig it, okay? I dig it. I like it. I mean, the deaths in this book shook me. I was not on board with that. I did not know why. What have I done to deserve such treatment? It was fun. It was a fun book. I recommend it. If you like assassin-themed books with lots of murder and school settings, because Mia goes to sort of like a place where all of the assassins get to study and pass their super murderous trials in order to become full-fledged members of the society. You're going to like this. I think you're going to like this. And the twists are coming out of left field, so I'm sure you're gonna like it. Alright, moving on. Then I read A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kemmer, and if you follow me on Instagram, that I was like guffawing a bit and oohing and eyeing about the beautiful cover, because it has a bit of holographic foil on the lettering and on the spine as well. And I didn't know if I would be reading this book at first, because I read my fair share of Beauty and the Beast retellings, and not all of them were up to my standards, I guess, so I was pleasantly surprised by this. It did not quite hit 5 stars for me, but it was a very good 4-star beginning to a series, and I really liked it that Bridget in this book, she was weaving in our world, she was weaving DC, Washington a bit. So the main heroine, she comes from Washington, and she gets sucked into this parallel universe as she gets basically kidnapped in order to be one of the girls who maybe will get a chance at finishing the spell of the beast. And it was such a fun ride. Harper, she's our main heroine, she's really kick-ass. I was kind of struck by the side characters a bit more than the main pairing, but coming to the end of the book, I was left with this ambiguous feeling that this might have been the intention of the author. I don't know. We won't know until we read the next book in the series, so that's another year's wait. But it was really well done, and I really liked the twist on it. So it's not like an insta-love story by any means. It's not making you like yeah, it's making you invested in the characters, but you can see that they have their own agency, so they're not following a plot. It's the plot that's driven by them, and I really appreciated it. And Harper is really kick-ass, and you know, it was a fun read. A fun read. I don't know what I'm gonna think of the series as a whole, but there's still some time for that to find out. So I'm waiting for yeah, I'm waiting for next year. This was a good 2019 release, so I'm really trying to read more 2019 releases this year, and I think I'm on track with some of the books that I'm gonna haul really soon, so we'll see what you think about that. But yeah, if you like Beauty and the Beast retellings, then I recommend it. I read a couple. One of my favorites is probably still the Sarah J Maas one. The third and final book was recommended for a long time on Jen Campbell's book channel, and I really like her recommendations. I mean, I always like listening to her, but we have very different reading tastes, so it took me a while to get to this book, even though she's been hyping it up for like years, probably a couple of years now since it came out. And I'm talking about Ali Smith's Autumn, and this is fiction, and I don't read a lot of fiction. I'm trying to read a lot more fiction now this year, but this was a really easy breezy. It was not easy breezy. What am I talking about? I'm just saying that it's short, okay? It's short. So if you want, you can get through it fairly quickly. I read this on the train from London back to Amsterdam because I had like 4 hours, and I did not finish it in 4 hours, but I was almost done with it. But this book really hit me hard. Like I don't know, like a train on the tracks, as Florence and the Machine says. I mean, this book is really interesting. The writing style takes a lot of getting used to because it's not very linear, and Ali has complete command of the language to the degree that she really breaks the conventions. So the conventions of punctuation, some of the passages in this book feel like poetry and they read like poetry. Others are so real and the dialogue in them is so real that you can't help but feel that it's perfect, a perfect depiction of real life. But I expect you'd want to know what the book is actually about, because I also went into it, was like, what is this about? So this is about two people. There's Daniel, who is over 100 years old, and there's Elizabeth, who is a millennial generation type girl. She was born in 1984, and this is about life in the United Kingdom before the final Brexit vote, but the Brexit theme goes through it like a thread in the background. The political themes are quite strong in this, even if they're not overtaking the whole plot of the book. And it's basically about these two people's relationships with each other, with the people surrounding them, and with the world. Sounds weird. I'm gonna read you something from the book, I think. Okay, I think I found you something that I can read so that you get a bit of the vibe of the book. And this is one of my favorite scenes, with Elizabeth going to the post office to renew her UK passport. Elizabeth comes to the counter and gives the woman her passport envelope and the new photo booth shots in which her face is definitely the right size. She has measured it. She shows her the receipt providing she paid the $9.75 check and send fee last week. When are you planning to travel? The woman says. Elizabeth shrugs. Nothing planned, she says. The woman looks at the photographs. There's a problem, I'm afraid, the woman says. What? Elizabeth says. This piece of hair here should be off the face, she says. It is off the face, Elizabeth says. That's my forehead. It's not even touching the face. It should be right back off the face, the woman says. If I took a picture of myself with it not where it is, Elizabeth says, I wouldn't truly look like me. What would be the point of a passport photo that didn't actually look like me? I'd say that's touching the eyes, the woman says. The woman pushes her chair back and takes the photo sheet round the counter where travel cash is issued. She shows it to a man there. The man comes back to the counter with her. There may be a problem with your photograph, he says, in that my colleague thinks the hair is touching the face in it. In any case, the hair is irrelevant, the woman says. Your eyes are too small. Oh God, Elizabeth says. The man goes back to his travel cash counter. The woman is sliding the pictures of Elizabeth up and down inside a transparent plastic chart with markings and measurements in different boxes printed all over it. Your eyes don't sit with the permissible regularity inside the shaded area, she says. This doesn't line up. This should be in the middle, and as you can see, it's at the side of your nose. I'm afraid these photographs don't meet the necessary stipulation. If you go to Snappy Snaps rather than to a booth, That's exactly what the man I saw here last week said, Elizabeth says. What is it with this post office and its relationship with Snappy Snaps? Does someone's brother work at Snappy Snaps? So you were advised to go to Snappy Snaps already, but you chose not to go, the woman says. Elizabeth laughs. She can't not. The woman looks so very stern about her not having gone to Snappy Snaps. So that's only a fragment, and that's my favorite part of the book, probably, because it's just so real. I mean, sometimes with this book I had a really hard time figuring out, excuse my cat munching on some food, of course she had to do it while I'm filming, but with this book I had some hard time distinguishing when there were poetry inserts. I was having a hard time understanding what the author was talking about, but everything that was more grounded in reality I really connected with, and I think I gave this 4 stars out of 5, and I would definitely recommend it. I think I'm going to go through the collection, but maybe just a bit later. So yeah, these were the 3 books that I read during March. Hopefully I can do something a bit more large in April. I have some really big books I'm dying to get to, so I will keep you, I will keep you updated. I don't really do TBRs because, as you can tell, like, I could do a TBR of 5 books and read only 3, and I wouldn't even know until I started because it's all very dependent on my mood. I don't know how you read, like, do you make a TBR or stick to it, or do you just pick up books off the shelf whenever you feel like it? So let me know. I'd love to hear what you've read in the month of March, whether you've read any of these 3 books and whether you like them, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!